He's got more reaction from the president. This was quite the interview, Jeff, with a good day to you. So there's more of what the president said about the Mueller probe. Let's start there. What can you tell us?
Yeah, great to see you, Alex. Well, the president talked this morning about the man presently in charge of overseeing the Mueller special counsel probe. That would be Acting Attorney General Matt Whitaker. The president told Chris Wallace of Fox that he wasn't aware that Whitaker had a track record of being a tough critic of the special counsel investigation before he named him Acting Attorney General. That does not square with our reporting. The president also said he wouldn't stop Whitaker if he tries to limit the scope of the special counsel probe. And he also gave a bit more detail about his earlier comments, indicating that he's finished the written responses to Robert Mueller's questions, which the president's legal team plans to submit this week. And as you mentioned, one source familiar tells us the president's legal team plans to turn those questions over by Thanksgiving. And the thing about that is, remember, the president is refusing to answer any questions related to obstruction of justice, which of course is a critical part of the special counsel investigation. The president's legal team believes the obstruction of justice portion falls outside of the Russia probe's mandate. So here's a bit more of what President Trump told Chris Wallace this morning.
You are submitting written answers to the special counsel about the issue of collusion, but not on obstruction of justice.
Well, there was no obstruction of justice.
Let me, if I may, sir, just
I think they probably agree with that.
If I
and all you have to do is look
is
at
that
our
your final position, that there's going to be no sit-down interview and nothing written or in person on obstruction?
I would say probably. Probably. I mean, I can change my mind, but probably. I think we've wasted enough time on this witch hunt, and the answer is probably. We're finished.
The president says we're finished. So he seems to be ruling out a sit-down interview with the special counsel team when it's something he's pushed for in the past, something he said he'd be eager to do. So why is that? Well, the president and his legal team says they are concerned about a perjury trap if he were to speak with Mueller. Of course, legal experts point out that there is no such thing as a trap if the witness simply tells the truth. Alex?
Okay, Jeff, don't go anywhere. I want you to stay with us and be part of this next conversation as I bring in Jay Newton-Small, Time Magazine contributor, and Charlie Savage, Washington correspondent for the New York Times and an MSNBC contributor. So it's a good day to both of you joining us now. Charlie, what happens if the president does not answer questions related to obstruction of justice? How does that complicate matters for Mueller?
Sorry, was that for me?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Well, so it means that Mueller, as he tries to finish this report we've all been saying that he's been working on, now under the scrutiny of Matt Whitaker, who's a huge Trump supporter and critic of this probe and its expansion, is not going to be able to plug in certain answers, which is, when asked about this, the person we investigated said that. And we expect in general that report to, well, what do we know? But we expect in general that report to be sort of shades of gray and ambiguous material and sort of eye of the beholder. It would be nice for history, if nothing else, to have something more than the sort of boilerplate denials that Trump puts out. There was no obstruction, as he just said to Chris Wallace, as Chris was trying to, get him to say something real. It seems that report will be incomplete without answers from Trump.
So coming off of that, Jay, what do you make of the president just really downplaying this whole Q&A process with Mueller? He calls it simple, says it's not a big deal, said that he was answering the questions very easily. What is your read on how he's handling this whole thing?
Well, Alex, I think it's another way for Donald Trump to say, move along here, nothing to see, this is all totally fine. It's not there's no obstruction, there's no problems with breaking the law, and this is really just not a big deal. And that's the way he's categorizing it. In comparison, he then says the media is strumming it up as this massive witch hunt, that it's something else completely, when in reality it's this very simple, not a big deal kind of thing. And obviously we have to wait to see what the report says, but there's been a lot of people who've been indicted, and so clearly it is a big deal, and clearly I think that there's concerns by the president, look at his tweets this week, that this could have very significant reaching implications for people very, very close to him. So maybe it's not a big deal for the president, but it's certainly a very big deal for potentially his son-in-law, and certainly a lot of his former staffers who've already either pled guilty or have been indicted.
You know, Jeff, the president was asked about his mood of late after all the recent headlines suggesting that he's become more angry, that he's gotten bitter because of the midterms, the results therein, and the Mueller investigation. Here's what he said about that. Let's all take a listen.
How dark is your mood?
It's very light. It's fake news. I will tell you, I'm extremely upbeat. The White House is running like a well-oiled machine. It's doing really well. I have great people. I will make some changes, but not very many. I'm very happy with my cabinet, other than, a couple of exceptions, and even there I'm not unhappy. And I will tell you that it's so wrong. The reporting about me is so wrong. I'm loving what I'm doing.
Geoff, based on your reporting, is this an accurate description of the mood in the White House?
Not entirely. I'll tell you that people close to the president say the mood in and around the West Wing is pretty dour, at least as it relates specifically to the Russia investigation. A deep anxiety, they say, has set in for the very reasons that Jay points out. There's a feeling that Robert Mueller could be ready to pounce at any moment now that his self-imposed quiet period is over, and that any number of Trump allies or family members could be at some point staring down the barrel of an indictment. The president, I'm told, though, has taken comfort, at least in part, in the fact that there is now a Trump ally, a perceived Trump ally, in Matt Whitaker, who now oversees the Russia investigation. And you heard the president say there that he might make changes to his cabinet. In a different part of the interview, he said he might make changes to as many as 5 positions in his cabinet. Of course, that could include the Homeland Security Secretary Kirstjen Nielsen. The president said he wasn't happy with the way she's handled things at the southern border, and then suggested it wasn't at all a guarantee that the Chief of Staff, John Kelly, would stick through the 2020 election.
Yeah. Okay, guys.